The last time Mayo met London in Ruislip was back in 2006. An unconvincing win by all accounts on that occasion, but it was the launch pad to success at Connacht before ultimately being put to the sword by Kerry in the All-Ireland final that year. Today in West London, a healthy crowd of exiles and travelling Mayo supporters on hand to see James Horne's men start their 2011 campaign against the London squad, who actually had 4 players who hail from Mayo, but who are now studying or working in London. London actually had the temerity to take the lead against the odds-on favourites, and by the 9th minute, they're led by 2 points to 0, with a point from Owen O'Neill and this score from midfielder Sean McVeigh. An Alan Dillon point cut the margin to 1 before Mayo were awarded a penalty for a hook block by Michael Maloney on Jason Doherty. Aidan Campbell took the penalty, put keeper Evan Byrne the wrong way, but only succeeded in hitting the post. 20 minutes in, London responded. Mark Gutsy pointed, and then the Londoners' opening goal. The Londoners' initial shot was saved by Mayo keeper Robert Hennelly, but Paul Geraghty followed up to put London 1-3 to 1 point ahead. Mayo had a lot of possession over the remaining minutes of the half, but were guilty of some horrendous misses and wides. With 2 Alan Dillon points and this fisted effort by Jason Doherty meant that London went to the break leading 1-4 to 4 points. The feeling was that Mayo would come back into the game in the second half, and Alan Dillon, who scored 3 first-half points, edged Mayo closer to London, and the lead was down to 1. London refused to yield and responded. Barry Comer got his second point of the afternoon, and John Collins got his first, as the London side again went out to a 3-point lead, and the home support in Ruislip started to believe that the shock was on. Again, Mayo responded, and 2 Andy Moran points helped his side back on level terms, and the Westerners had the feeling that London were now in their sights. Surely the exiles would buckle. Not a bit of it. Paul Geraghty put London back in front, and then lo and behold, the margin was out to 2 again, as substitute Kevin Fair pointed 4 minutes from time, and Mayo looked rattled. However, Mayo hit back, and right on the stroke of full time, Kevin McLaughlin scored for Mayo to put the game into extra time. By the end of the 70, Mayo had gotten out of jail. All square, 12 points to London's 1-9. Cork referee Michael Collins determined that there was to be 2 10-minute periods of extra time, and Mayo were the fitter, as 3 Andy Moran points and 1 from Cillian O'Connor put Mayo 4 points up. Only for London to reduce the gap to a point right on the stroke of half-time in extra time, when Cathal O'Sullivan punched to the net, and it was 16 points to 2-9 at the end of that first period. But that was as close as a clearly tired London got, as Mayo closed out the game in the second period of extra time, and this Andy Moran point put Mayo into the Connacht semi-final against Galway and Castlebar on the 26th of June. It was a very close shave for Mayo, but in the end, victory was theirs against a game in plucky London in Ruislip. It finished Mayo 19 points, London 2-10.
Our backs were to the wall, you know, the crowd were getting agitated, looked like it was going away from us, but we stuck at it. And kicked 2 good points to bring it to extra time, and we started playing good football in extra time and kicked on from there. So look, we're delighted to get out of there. London played very well today. An organised, fit bunch, and it was a tough day.
We had full confidence going into the game. We're sick of going out just to make a day out for people here in London. We need to start building, getting results. So it's like, as I was speaking to someone there earlier on, it's just one step at a time here for people in London. Just the GA saying needs to get developed, and hopefully this is a step in the right direction,
Yeah, well, I don't know if you're watching us in London, but if you are, well done, lads. It was this afternoon, we were following it on Twitter, and the scores coming in. It was quite extraordinary, Colm. It would have been a disaster for Mayo, but it's a great performance from London, in fairness.
Yeah, it would have been a great disaster. And of course, people have the simplistic view about London that maybe with emigration, football should become very strong there. But it's not just as simple as that. The logistics of travelling in London and turning out for training for the county team, it's the same nearly as having a Leinster team or a Munster team nearly in this part of the country with the travelling time. So for them to have a very good team together, put on a good show like that today, is going to help them build for the future, because they really had a very, very poor league campaign and they never seemed to be able to do anything in the league. But in a way, it's going to be a wake-up call for Mayo, and I actually don't think it's going to do Mayo any harm at all. And I think that going into the game against Connacht now, James Horan has his team in actually quite a useful position.
Yeah. Some of the tweets on this were quite funny today. One viewer said, yet again, Mayo go to a capital city and can't perform. And another one thinks that Mayo's problem is they were jet lagged today, Tony. But do you go along with Colm's point that it mightn't do them any harm?
Yeah, it's going